In order to do prediction or to fit time series, you first have to understand your data. So the data consists of two parts. The two parts of the data is, one is deterministic part and the second is stochastic part. So the deterministic part could come from many things. It could come from observable trend. For example, there is increase in population in an area and that is driving the demand. So this is an increased trend. Second could be cyclicity. This cyclicity could be in the consumption of particular items because of seasonality. For example, winter clothes or commodities or agriculture produce. So deterministic part consists of two things. One is trend and the second is the seasonality. Then we come to stochastic part. Now this is the part which is relevant for time series. So this part is relevant for time series. So you fit time series in the stochastic part. The deterministic part is taken out by regression. So this part is for regression. Now this is the relevant part for us. This is the relevant part for time series. So you consider past data, which is in turn generated by some shocks, and these shocks are normally distributed with mean 0 and some variance sigma square. So I am using variance 1 here. Now very important warning. Now it is very important for you to understand your data. Does your data have any deterministic part like a trend or a cyclicity? So trend and seasonality, these are the deterministic parts. Now if your data has this deterministic part, you remove it. You remove this part, you remove the deterministic part, because the time series can be fit only to this part too. And then you fit the time series. Now the beauty of R is that the R will do it for you. R will remove the deterministic part for you. So after you fit the time series, you can have various models of time series and then you have to choose the model. So you choose the model with the lowest log likelihood and this Akaike's information criterion. So this is short form is AIC. This short form we will write as LL, log likelihood as LL, and Akaike's information criterion as AIC. So we have to choose the lowest. So let us do a practical example to understand this. So we will take a built-in data set, air passengers. Again, you denote AP equals to air passengers so that we don't have to type air passengers again and again. So the first step is you decompose in R. So this is the command for decompose. Multiple means that the R knows that it has to break up the data into three parts. It has to break up the data in trend. It has to break up the data in cyclicity or seasonality. And it has to break up the data into third, random or stochastic part. So we will see the plot and see that the data is broken up into three parts, and this is the random part which we will select out. So ap.decompose decomp.random means that we are taking the random part of the decomposed series, and then we will fit time series on this random part. So random part is this, and you fit time series here. So you fit time series right here. Now you can also fit partial autocorrelation functions and autocorrelation function on this random part, but sometimes there is values like NA values in it. So NA values is not a number, or sometimes these values are not available. So what you do is you kind of exclude these values. So therefore I'm writing NA action, that if you find an NA, just exclude it. So now let us run this code in R and see what we have done. So copy paste this from the description of the video. So let us run these 3 lines first. Hit the run button. So you see R decomposes it for you. This is your observed series, this is the trend, and this is the seasonality. Since you are going to run time series, you have to take trend out and you have to take seasonality out. So R is smart enough, it gives you this random part like this here. So this random part is what we are going to use. So this random command is ap decomp, that is from here you decompose it into multiple parts. and from these multiple parts you just take the random part out. So that is what random is, nothing but ap.decom this dollar random. So this helps us take the random part out, and this is the random means that we will display it on the screen. So let us run these two parts. So notice that these are the random parts. So random, so this is not the exact series, this is just the random parts, and there are some NA values here. We can't do anything about these NA values, so we have to get rid of these NA values. So notice that you have data for January, February, March, April, May, June. All this is just the random part of the airline passenger data. This does not contain either the trend or the seasonality. So you can only fit your data on the random part. So you can run the partial autocorrelation function and autocorrelation function. So let us run partial autocorrelation function. So this gives you a graph like this. So seems to be there is some kind, there just seems to be one lag here, and other lags are existing. There is a lag in third place, fourth place, but they don't seem that significant, and they seem to be negative. Since it's airline passenger data, we in some sense expect non-negative lags, but we will check this out in a model anyway. And then you can see this autocorrelation function, you can run this also. Let us now talk about the first model we want to fit. So this first model we want to fit is based upon our partial autocorrelation function. You can see this first value is approximately 0.4, so there is definitely one lag here. Let us run the autocorrelation function also to understand the model. So now you have the autocorrelation function ACF. Obviously first is always 1, it is correlated. This is the second lag is also correlated to the value of 0.4, so maybe we should always lag on the second value. So sometimes the series going cyclically, so we definitely know there is a one lag. We can't say anything about further lags, but we will check it out in our model. So this is the model we want to fit. There is a one lag in it. So this is yt minus 1 is a lag. So we need to determine this coefficient alpha, and we need to determine this constant. So the data we have is random. So this is our data. So this is the command. This is M1 stands for, say, model 1 I have given. You could give anything here. ARIMA random is the data. Order C100 means one lag. So this is one lag model. So after I run this command, you will get a model M1, and you can type M1 and get the summary we will see, which will give you the values of alpha and C. But we also have to check the residuals. So for a time series, the assumption is that these residuals, these are normally distributed. And to check whether this assumption is right, after you fit the time series, your residuals should be normally distributed. You do a Shapiro test. The Shapiro test will give you a p-value. So the null hypothesis is that the values are normally distributed. So null is normal distributed values. Normally distributed values. So this is our null hypothesis. If you get the p-value less than 0.05, then you reject this hypothesis. So if you think your time series makes sense, then you run this test and you want p-value always to be greater than 0.05, because then the null hypothesis holds that the residues are normally distributed. So we are running residues here. So these res1 is nothing but residuals of our model. So let us run Shapiro test first. We'll run our model, residues, and Shapiro test, and then see what comes out. So let us run this. Select these two lines, run it, and then do the Shapiro test on the residuals. Run the Shapiro test. Shapiro test gives you p-value of 0.151. So this is more than 0.05. So you do not reject the null hypothesis, and the null hypothesis was that the residuals are normally distributed. So okay, that's fine, residuals are normally distributed. So we have run the model. Now let us run M1. What are our model results? So the model results give us coefficients as 0.4 and intercept as 0.99. But we need to know whether this coefficient and the intercept are statistically significant from 0. For that purpose, you run the confidence interval test. So you run the confidence interval. So 2.5% and 97.5%. That is, at the 5% confidence interval level, you see that the confidence interval is this. So it does not contain 0. So this value of 0.4, which lies in this confidence interval, is significant. Similarly, for the intercept, it goes from 0.98 to 1. It does not contain 0. So intercept is significant. So we have been able to find the values of alpha. Alpha is 0.40 and this constant intercept is 0.99, and both of them are significant. Now let us also write our AIC values and LL values from the table. So our AIC value given in the table is minus 541.57 and this log likelihood is 273.78. So we just saw the LL was 273 and this was minus 541. So we will choose other two models and we want to choose the lowest values of AIC and LL. Again, once you run M1, you get these coefficients, but then you have to see their confidence interval. The confidence interval should not contain 0 for these coefficients to hold. And now you can predict ahead. So I'll run this command will predict ahead. So we have data till 1960. So this will predict data in 1961 for 10 months. So let us see this. So now we are just going to run the prediction command. So you see for 10 months till October, we are given some prediction value. This is standard error. The predicted values are here. These are the predicted values. So this is machine learning basically. This prediction is done by algorithm of time series, and this is precisely one of the algorithms for machine learning. But this prediction is useless because this is never going to happen. This is a stochastic process. So the idea that these values are going to be obtained in the future is very fuzzy. What we should essentially do is we should simulate a lot of values and then give a probability distribution of values rather than singular values, because singular values have no meaning. You have to give a confidence interval of those values. So we will talk about simulation of time series and building confidence intervals around it later, but you need to keep in mind that the prediction does not mean anything. Definitely if you try to predict the future, these are the values which will not be obtained. So whatever you will obtain will be around these values, but to get exactly these values is impossible. So you will not get exactly these values, you will get something around these values. And when you say word around, then you have to give a precise mathematical meaning. That is, you have to replace this word around with some probability. Now let us do another model. So we have done this model and we have recorded all its values. So we have recorded AIC values and LL values. Now let us do another model. So in this second model, what we try to do is we try to put in two lags. So instead of one lag, you say, I want to fit another model. This is model 2. I will fit in two lags here. So your order becomes 2, 0, 0. So again, you will find the residuals. You will do a Shapiro test on it and see that the p-value should be greater than 0.05. So if it is less than 0.05, then you reject the hypothesis. So we don't want to reject the hypothesis. Null hypothesis is that these residuals are normally distributed. So let us do this, and then we will run the model M2, and then we find the confidence interval. So now we are on model 2. You are fitting it to random part of the data. So you select this and both these lines you run it, and then first run the Shapiro test on it. So the Shapiro test, it gives you p-value of 0.16. So this is greater than 0.05. So you do not reject the null hypothesis, and the null hypothesis is that the error terms are normally distributed. So at least some part of our model is right. Now let us run M2. So you get the coefficients intercept is 0.99, AR1 is 0.42, and the second lag is minus 0.05. And you want to check whether these are statistically significant from 0, all these three numbers. You want to check if these three numbers are statistically significant from 0. And for that, you always do the confidence interval. So you see for AR1, for the first lag, the 0 is not in the interval. From 0.25 to 0.59, you have no 0. So the value of this 0.42 makes sense. For AR2, there is 0 in the interval. You're going from minus 0.2 to 0.1. So 0 is in this interval. So AR2 is not significantly different from 0. So you have to set this term as 0. Then the intercept is 0.99 and confidence interval is 0.98 to 1. So this makes sense. So log likelihood in this case is 274 and AIC is minus 540. So what have we learned? We have first learned that AR2 is not significant because its corresponding confidence interval has 0 in it. And we have also learned that AR1 and intercept are significant. So let us now go back to the model. So back in the model, we have learned that this alpha 2 was spit out as a number, but this is statistically equal to 0. Alpha 1 we found out is 0.42 and this constant is again 0.99. So you see that both these models are kind of similar. So what was log likelihood was 274 in this case, and AIC was minus 540. So obviously you are going to select this model now here. Notice that its LL is lower and its AIC is also lower. So AIC is minus 541 is less than minus 540 and log likelihood is 273, it is less than 274. And notice here we said choose model with lowest log likelihood and Akaike's information criterion. Now let us fit a mixed model. So the final model we want to fit is with two lags. You have one lag which is corresponding to our autoregressive process and the second lag is our moving average. So not exactly two lags, this is ARMA 1-1 model. So you think maybe it is not, we definitely know it is one lag, we have checked it before, but we want to see if there is a lag with moving average. So this is the command for it. So this is for the first lag, minus 1 lag is here, and this is minus 1 means 1 lag is here. So you always skip this 0 part. So this 0 part is corresponding to some difference operator. This is difference operator. We are not covering this. This is a different part of time series when you apply difference operator to time series. So we are not applying any difference operator to time series. So you always keep this as 0. So again, you first find the residuals, you do its Shapiro test, then we will fit the model and find the confidence intervals. So let us do this in R. So this is our model. So let us first run these two. Let us do the Shapiro test now. The Shapiro test gives us a p-value of 0.16. So you do not reject the null hypothesis that the errors are normally distributed. So everything is good. Errors are normally distributed. Now let us run the model. So model gives us AR coefficient is 0.35. The moving average coefficient is 0.06 and intercept is 0.99. Now we really want to see that if these are significant, statistically significant. So for that you run the confidence interval test. So see, AR1 confidence interval goes from 0.05 to 0.65. So it does not contain a 0. So AR1 is significant. MA1 contains a 0. It goes from minus 0.2 to 0.3. So this is not significant. And intercept does not contain 0. So this interval does not contain 0. It goes from 0.98 to 1. So this is significant. So our coefficients are now 0.35. This is 0. And intercept is 0.99. Our log likelihood is 273 and AIC is minus 539. So let us record this. So our AIC was minus 539 and log likelihood is 273. So again, it is not much different from our AR1 model. And we have seen this coefficient now is 0.35. This coefficient we found out was 0.99, and this is statistically equal to 0. So all tests point out that this is the AR1 model which we should try to fit in. So you could also try for ARMA 1-2 model. The only thing you will have to do is, instead of the C101, you will write C102, and then see the confidence interval if it says that there is some lag or not. So you can run as many models as you want to, but obviously smaller the model, the better it is. And you always check if you get the lowest values for AIC and LL. So you choose that model which gives you the lowest values for AIC and LL. And obviously you should get some confidence interval. So say you have lag 2, you get some confidence interval here for lag 2, but then do you choose this model or you choose AR1 model? The criteria will always be AIC and LL should be the lowest. So that is it. That is how to fit a time series into a data.